Hey guys, welcome back. Today, we're gonna try something a little new, something you guys been asking for me for a while. I figured I'll get it out of the way, and this is something that I've been wanting to do for you guys. This is completely new to me, as you're gonna see in the video. We're kind of winging it. We're doing it live with a face cam, and we're gonna do the best that we possibly can. But I think it's important that we go over stuff like this, as people are still a little confused and exactly where to get the perks and exactly what to do. So today we are going to be doing a team perk tier list. I believe this is probably the first tier list ever made in Fortnite, but I thought it would be something cool to try out. I custom did the entire thing, so bear with me. But the information is good. The information is solid. But remember, this is my opinion, 100% my opinion. You can choose to believe me, you can choose not to. That's up to you. I've just been playing this game for a very long time. I know basically everything there is to know about it, and I'm never going to purposely steer you in the wrong direction. I'm going to tell you what's good, what's not good, why is it good, and etc. I really try to break stuff down in my videos so you guys have a better understanding of exactly how everything works. So we're going to do the same thing here, except it's not going to be as highly edited because we're just going to be sitting here talking for a little bit. And in editing, I will take it down and try to make it as short as possible because it's just going to be a lot of information. But it's good information. It's important information. So with all of that out of the way, let's get into the first team perk tier list. We're going to do this probably with support perks too. I thought this one was a little more important. Now, every single day I get questions on my comment section whenever I post a new video of, I don't have Preemptive Strike, I don't have Soaring Mantis, how do I get these perks? Well, each perk is unlocked by taking out or purchasing or getting or whichever way you have to do it, a mythic hero. There are, I believe, 4 base perks, and then the rest are you get from mythic heroes. This right here is a master sheet of all abilities in the game, or all perks in the game. Right here, team perk unlock, and I will post this in the description down below, so feel free to grab it if you need it. But if you're curious about which ones to grab, they are right here. So we can see right here is Wukong, and he gives us Soaring Mantis. Hot Swap is Quick Draw Calamity. Cool Customer is Master Grenadier. So it just runs down the gambit. Now you no longer need to ask, what character you might need, what character unlocks what. It's all here in black and white. And a lot of people then ask me of what character is worth taking out. So we're going to go over that in the actual tier list, and you guys can make the decision of which ones you want to grab. So with that out of the way, like I said, let's get into an actual tier list. Now, I made this all custom, so it's okay. It'll do the job for the most part. So right here we have a tier list. If you guys don't know what a tier list is, it's used in a lot of times in MOBAs and things that go through a lot of updates. It's usually S++, S+, S, A, B, C, D, then usually F. Now that's just in ascending order or descending order of how good a character usually is, and maybe we'll do this for characters too, but in this case we're doing team perks. How well they fit into the meta, how well they work with the characters, or how complementary are they, and everything like that. So I cut out all the little icons. I will try to make a finished picture, maybe post it on Reddit or post it on Imager with the text next to it, but as long as you guys are following along, you will understand. So now with that huge preamble out of the way, let's try to get into this and figure it out just a little bit. Now, first up, just because it's the first one on my screen, so we are going to take a few things into consideration here. Number one, how easy it is to get this perk. So for example, hot swap is very hard to get if you're trying to make a min-max build. Endless shadow is only used for ninjas, so that's going to be taken into account as well. That's the second criteria. How available to all classes is this perk? And then lastly, the last criteria is going to be, and probably the most important one, is going to be how well does this perk work? So let's take a look at Endless Shadow. Endless Shadow, a ninja with 3 or more stars increases shadow stance duration by 4 seconds. Now, ninjas have it kind of weird. They have a lot of perks that really work for them. Top of my head, we have Soaring Mantis, we have Round Trip, Dim Mach, Bioenergy Source. They're all fantastic abilities. You would use this on one character mainly, maybe two, and that is going to be Cloaked Shadow. Cloaked Shadow is the guy in the red cloak. Now, what he does is it combines quite well with his corrupted aura and allows you to stay in shadow stance a lot longer than normal, which increases his aura damage by a ton. The issue with this skill is it's only really good on him or worthwhile on him. You can use it on other characters. It's just really not worth it, considering there's only 1 or 2 other support team perks that can somehow influence this, such as like Legendary Blade. So as our first one, Legendary Shadow, I'm going to put it right in B. It seems like a pretty average ability, doesn't do too much special. It works for one class and one class alone, and that's really it. So let's check out the next one, which is Preemptive Strike. Preemptive Strike, for each hero or epic or higher rarity with at least 4 stars, increases damage by 6.5% against full health enemies. This ability is usable by any class there is. It works for ability damage, it works for gun damage. It does not work for trap damage. But Preemptive Strike is one of probably the better perks, since it works for every class and the requirement is super low. It's one of the only main damaging class abilities that works for everybody in the entire game. With that being said, most characters can make some sort of use of this in some aspect. You can make a sniper build, you can make a dragon slash build. There may be some bugs where it's not working with all abilities, from what I've heard. Still a fantastic ability for a team perk. This is probably going to be one of the highest ones that we rate today, and we're going to put it in S+. Now, usually S stands for super overpowered. It's not, just for the sake of this video and me trying to do this on my own, we're going to do it that way. Next up is Phase Blaster. Every 5 seconds, your next shot will fire a phase pulse, which deals 47 damage, energy damage. Requires 2 Outlanders of epic, higher, or rarity. I dislike this ability. I disliked it on Rook. I dislike it in the Ghost Pistol, but that's not part of this list. Is it usable? Again, these are my opinions, but I'm trying to base them on fact. Is it usable? Yeah. I mean, I guess it adds a little bit of extra damage. That 47 base damage scales. I don't know what it's going to hit for. I've never used the ability, but that's because I don't think it's very good. I think you can use it on other characters, but I honestly think there are just better team perks that you can pick, and this one isn't worth it. 47, let's hypothetically say this scales up to 1300 damage, maybe. Preemptive Strike at 6.5% damage times 4 or times 5, you're going to get a lot more benefit from this when you first shoot somebody. Then let's take a look at Hot Swap. So this one we're going to put down in C. I've never seen anybody use it, period. Let's take a look at Hot Swap. Hot Swap is one of the best abilities, team perks in the game. Sadly, you can never use it unless you're making a character that is completely average on all fronts. So if you want a ninja with a little bit of assault rifle damage, a bonus dragon slash, something to do with a constructor, and something to do with a soldier, it's just unusable. I wish that this ability was better. I don't know if anybody has a build. There is one build, once again, floating out there that requires a ninja and a bunch of assault rifle perks. That's damage is technically very high in niche situations, but besides that, I'm not really sure exactly when you would use this. So because of those reasons, even though it has the potential to be great, hot swap is going down to C. Next up, we have Soaring Mantis. Soaring Mantis allows 2 additional jumps where it requires 3 ninjas. Now, you need a ninja to use this ability, so 3 ninjas isn't that bad. You're usually going to want to spec into an ability that your main character has. So if you are playing a ninja, you're going to want to put, Dragon Slash or Blade or Corrosive Strikes, something in there to make it, usable. Since that's the case, putting in 3 ninjas is perfect for this ability. Also, ninjas no longer take fall damage, and the jumping no longer takes energy. This is one of the better perks in the game for ninjas. It would probably go up near S tier, but since it's only usable for ninjas, we're going to stick it on A. Next up, we have Slow Your Roll. Freeze melee attackers for 2 seconds. Miss monsters are slowed by 43%. Requires 3 heroes with 3 or more stars. Are easy. But is the perk worth it? It's okay. It's good for constructors, ninjas, if you Dragon Slash into a group of enemies and you get hit a couple times, maybe lose your energy if it's a nature wave, and you end up not being able to get out of there by any way. It's okay. Nothing wrong with the ability. There are better ones, so we're going to stick that right into B. Slow Your Roll into B. Next up, we have Shake It Off. Decreases duration of elemental status effects by 50%. 2 heroes with 4 or more stars. Requirements, easy. The actual team perk, it's okay. I feel like they've increased the elemental effect of enemies. I feel like I'm being slowed longer. I feel like I'm losing more energy when I get hit by a nature husk. So yeah, it's usable. Again, melee class, 100%. You wouldn't use this on a soldier or anything with any sort of range or mobility. This is made for a ninja that get hits a lot, or a constructor that gets hit a lot. And because it has an easy requirement and an overall useful build that is global, like global as in anybody can use it, I'm going to put it again in B. You're going to notice that there are very few perks in this game that are currently overpowered. There's not really much that you have to worry about. But it allows for decent build diversity, maybe not as much as we originally thought, but we're playing for what we can. Hunter's Instinct. For each hero or epic or higher rarity with at least 4 stars, eliminations during evening or night grant 0.24% damage and 0.8 melee life leech up to 40 stacks. These bonuses last until night ends. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you can put this on any class in the game. It doesn't have to be ninjas. And I am correct about that. So you can use this on any class in the game, which is interesting. It's a weird perk to take. When you are fully perked up and stacked, you get a decent damage boost and melee life leech. You don't have to use the melee life leech. Maybe you can use it for one of those hybrid characters that you might want to build with assault rifle damage and, have a sword or a hammer in the back pocket. Again, it's not the best because you're losing out a lot of damage with it being daytime. There's nothing you can do to control this perk. You just have to wait for the day to go into nighttime. So Hunter's Instinct we're gonna put into B as well, and we might move that. At the end of the video, we're gonna take a second look after we've gone through everything and see where everything lends up. And now we are on to a pretty damn good perk. Bioenergy Source. Hero with 3 or more stars. Recovers shield equal of 0.25% energy lost. This tooltip is incorrect. It's basically it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. It's almost like 25% of every 10 energy that you use, you gain shield. For example, if I'm playing a ninja and I heavy attack, I will get 58,000 shield per heavy attack. The weird thing is if you use a sword or anything that takes more than the normal amount of heavy energy, or heavy attack energy, like for example, if I take a scythe and I do the whirlwind spin, I will gain 111,000 shield, because it's using more of my stamina / energy than a normal heavy attack with like a Masamune would use, which could lead to some interesting tank builds. I'm working on them, where you just basically can't die because maybe you're using so much energy between dragon slashing and heavy attacking that it's quite ridiculous. It works for every single character. It is very easy to slot. I'm going to put this one along with Preemptive Strike in S. There's definitely some cool builds that you can do with Bio. I really, really like the ability. I've liked it since the first time I ever used it. 1-2 punch. Hero with 2 stars or more, so easy. Your next heavy attack after using an ability costs 20 less energy. I've never used this. Just never have. Probably never will. I'm going to put this low on the list, guys. It's probably going to be the first one in D. I can't really think of much you would use with this. Your next heavy attack after using ability costs 20 less energy. The only thing I can think of is if you're playing a ninja and you dragon slash into something and then you use like a whirlwind on a scythe and it costs 20% less energy. But to lose out bio energy source or preemptive strike is just not worth it. Underdog. For each hero of epic or higher quality or rarity, increase healing received by 2.5% for each nearby enemy. Probably one of the worst abilities in the game. There isn't a healing class or anything like that, so what are you gonna do? It would be used for like constructors or something that are surrounded by enemies. Your heal heals you more than enough. There's only campfires and healing pads. It doesn't make sense. This entire ability is terrible. Don't use it. Don't spend a ticket if you need to. Just do not use this. So we're gonna move on to a couple of other builds here. Soldier. We have Keep Out. For each soldier, frag grenade leaves an energized area, dealing 12 base energy damage per 6 seconds for 6 seconds in a 3/7 tile increase by 40% with each match. I like this ability. There are certain heroes that just don't have any AoE, and although these grenades don't do a ton of damage, you could throw a grenade damage, boost into your build and make them hit a little harder. Plus, they basically take care of most of the small stuff, and the radius is ridiculously big. It is MGR level big without, it being a mythic. Is it the best? No, not really, but is it a good ability? Absolutely. It's definitely one to keep on the, on your main list, and I'm actually going to throw it into A. Let's take a look at Law. Long Arm of the Law increases your punch on Outlanders by 1 tile. If you're using an Outlander that has a punch, requiring 2 Outlanders is not that big of a deal, so that's pretty easy. The perk is definitely fallen off. There's nothing fantastic to it. It's smaller range than normal. They really messed around with Outlanders a lot in this patch, and this is one of the things that they did. So I'm going to put it into B. It's usable, but there's probably slightly other better perks that you can pick if you're trying to be a damage Outlander. However, if you're trying, you know what, I'm actually going to put it into A. If there was an A- or a B+, I would put it there, because if you are farming, it's one of the best farming perks, so that should give it a little bit of a boost. We have Round Trip. Throwing stars return to you, dealing their damage again on the way back. 2 ninjas of legendary or higher rarity. Requirements are easily met. Round Trip is an interesting ability. I've had some fun with it. I've done some builds with it, and I in general like the ability. There's a few ways you can mess with it, either by using Lamurai or Assassin Sarah, Shuriken Master Sarah. They're both interesting builds that you can pull off. Are they the best? I've yet to see that, but if I am going to try a Ninja Star build, there really isn't much else that you wouldn't want with this. It allows for all throwing stars to hit twice, and that's usually it usually works pretty well. The cooldown's short enough to where it does what it's supposed to. So for throwing stars, pretty safe ability. I'm going to put it into B. It's only usable for one class, really, because you're going to be losing out on too much. Now we get into some more interesting perks here. Dim Mach is just busted. It is just broken. It is S+, S tier. It is going with bio and all the rest. It is one of the best abilities in the game. I wish you could use it on other characters, and not using it on other characters makes you feel a lot weaker. Shadow Stance regenerates 2.7 shield per second, and every ninja in the game, as soon as you kill something with a melee weapon, goes into Shadow Stance. You cannot die. As long as you're killing stuff, you cannot die. If you're playing a ninja and you can spec into Shadow Stance, you're doing legendary blade damage. It's ridiculous how much shield this this actually gives you. It's kind of insane. This is one of the best abilities in the game for team perks. If you haven't tried it or if you haven't unlocked it and you like playing ninjas, definitely get this perk. Let's take a look at Boom Bass. Blast Steel Wool music, increasing damage by 12% and critical rating by 15%. Here's the issue with Boom Bass. Although one of the best perks in the game, period, and it would and it should go to S class, the damn requirements are terrible for a constructor. There's nothing that gives you exactly what you want, and becomes an issue when you're trying to build a certain kind of loadout, whether it be a supportive loadout or an offense-orientated loadout. Both of those characters just don't mesh well. However, if you're playing full support class and you just want to help out your team, I would definitely suggest using it if you can trust your allies. So because it's so good, I'm going to put it in A. It would be an S, but it just can't be because of the requirements. Supercharged Traps is going straight into S. This is one of the only abilities in the game that can do anything if you're playing, or that can do what this thing does. If you're playing a constructor, and you're going to be doing a hard mission, Supercharged Traps is absolutely worth it, especially if you cannot fit in Boom Bass. Supercharged Traps increases the damage by all traps by 8.5% that are affected by your base. It is a great team perk, and I would definitely suggest picking it up if you like playing constructors. Next up, we have Shifting Gears. Phase Shift has one additional charge, but loses 0.2 tiles. I don't know why they did that. It's a fair perk. There's nothing wrong with it. There's better perks. I'm going to put it into C. It works for building or farming perks, but it's nothing fantastic. You would rather have the other one. We have Recycling. Base generates resources based on affected structures. Higher tier structures generate more resources. Interact with base and collect. Requires 2 constructors. Easy. This is going into A. This is not necessary on most missions, and in fact, traps are better 9 times out of 10 if you're playing a supportive constructor. However, if you want to use it for Frostnite maybe, or possibly Survive the Storm, anything coming up that might limit you on your resources, Recycling is definitely worth it. And you can use it in regular missions. There's nothing wrong with the ability. It does what it's supposed to do. It's a decent ability or a team perk. And lastly, we have Cool Customer. Sorry that I missed this one while I was going through it. It's because I switched to Calamity, and this is a perk I had on her. With Frost, Stay Frosty active. Using an ability reduces cooldowns of all abilities by 3 seconds and ends Stay Frosty. Easy requirements. Here's the issue with Cool Customer. Let me see if I can show you this to you guys. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Should be able to. All right, so it's only usable really on certain soldiers. So Stay Frosty, what it does is it gives you, after 3 eliminations, increased ranged weapon damage by 10% and weapon stability by 35% for 7 seconds. Now, if you have this perk and use an ability, it consumes the Stay Frosty and gives you 3 seconds on all your cooldowns. This is decent on a character that has shorter cooldown abilities. So if you're trying to make a punch build, or if you made a minigun build and the cooldown's really short, or you focused really hard into Warcry, then it's usable. Besides that though, I feel like Stay Frosty is a better perk regardless, and 3 seconds, you're never going to notice it whatsoever. So with that being said, let's just put Stay Frosty. It can work, it has easy requirements, or we're just gonna stick it in B. And that's the tier list for you guys. Like I said, this is a rough draft, you know, just something that I did. The link to the master sheet will be in the description. Let me know if you guys agree with me, disagree with me, or anything along those lines. I think I got a pretty good handle on what's usable. I wish there were some better S and A tier abilities, but that's how gaming goes. Hopefully down the line, they'll introduce a lot more for us to work with and to use, and we can create new and exciting builds. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys on the next one. TikTak out.